For Crema Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini. Frieda Hartley Shelter for Women Manager Cheryl Hlabane joins me to discuss gender-based violence following a series of crimes against women and girls in recent weeks in South Africa. Tell us about the work done at the Frieda Hartley Shelter for destitute women and children.
Okay, so Frieda Hartley is a shelter that aims to shelter and empower homeless women in and around Johannesburg. The women that come through our doors are obviously homeless for a variety of reasons. So it could be because of unemployment, fleeing an abusive spouse, family disputes. There's a lot of reasons why women come through to our shelter.
The recent brutal killing of the 22-year-old Karabo Mkwena shocked South Africa. Why do you think women abuse is so rife in our country?
One of the main reasons will have to be the high rate of unemployment. If you're unemployed, especially as a woman, then you end up being financially dependent on a boyfriend or a spouse. And once that starts happening, and then there comes a level of control. And obviously with that control, at times, then the abuse starts. So it starts with the psychological, where somebody is basically controlling your every move, and now they're basically telling you that you're worthless because you are unemployed and you're depending on them, and you start believing that. At some point, it's something that gets to your head, and you think, okay, vele, I'm unemployed, I'm useless, and he's taking care of me, so if he slaps me a little bit, it's okay. If he tells me I'm stupid, if he tells me I'm not worthy, he's probably right. And then it escalates from there. I mean, death is the last toll. So it will start with the emotional, and then it gets physical, and unfortunately for others, like Karabo, then it leads to death.
Many abused women don't leave their abusive partners. Why is this?
It's not easy. Like I said, it really starts. You don't meet somebody in the street and they slap you immediately. So, and then you're like, oh, okay, he's a good candidate, So when the relationship starts, it starts at a high phase. He's very caring, he's loving, he's opening the doors, he's buying the flowers, he's it's those good morning beautiful text messages. So it starts there, and all relationships in the beginning, they're at their peak, so it's those butterflies and what and then slowly but surely, once they become comfortable and they see your weaknesses or your weak points, and that's when the actual abuse starts. But and for somebody to just walk out of a relationship, either at an early stage or in the middle of the relationship or at the end of the relationship, we women also, we always outweigh the good and the bad, and we're very forgiving as women, and we sometimes think we can change individuals, and that's one of the biggest mistakes that women make. He'll slap me once, and then you're like, okay, yes, it's probably my fault because I said this and he didn't like the way I reacted. So it's not easy, especially also, like I said, the reason why it's so high, it's because of the high unemployment rate, excuse me. And so if you absolutely have nowhere to go, and you've been staying with this man, and you have a child with this man, and you're thinking, okay, so where am I going to go? Family, unfortunately, when days are dark, friends and family are few, so you end up staying in that relationship, and other people don't understand. We're so quick to judge, we're so quick to, when a friend comes through to you, our first instinct is we listen to answer and never to understand, and sometimes those people just want a listening ear so that they can come to their own conclusion at some point. So we're so quick to judge. And also there's still, a stigma around it. Then people will laugh and you're like, oh, you think you are better, but look at you, your boyfriend or your husband is beating you up. So that's why a lot of people cover up that shame. And also coming from, a black society or a black family, where when you get married, or when you're about to get married, your aunties, your grandmothers, your mothers, the first thing that they tell you is emshadweni kuyabekezela, which means you persevere, in a relationship. Your husband just doesn't do one thing or cheat on you or do something, and then you automatically pack your bag. So, it's cultural, it goes back, it's way rooted. It's not just the surface that we see now. As women, we know that kumele sibekezela. So if he does this, pray about it. If you don't pray about it, you have to persevere. So it's not really on the surface, it's really deep rooted.
What is the best advice you can give to someone who is trapped in an abusive relationship?
They have to understand themselves. They have to come to the realization themselves. There is nothing that you can tell a woman who's in love. Forget abuse. When you're in love, we've all been in love. And your friend will come and tell you, oh, I saw your boyfriend with another girl. You end up being angry at your friend, for bringing that information and not the person that's actually committing the act. So there's nothing that you can tell somebody who's not even ready to move out of that situation or doesn't even realize that they're abused. So some do get to the point where they realize that, okay, this is not for me. I mean, there are centers, unfortunately, people don't have trust in our justice system because it has failed a lot of domestic violent victims. But find a support system. Find somebody that you can confide in, somebody that can help you, or maybe that person can reach out to organizations like ours, who will then be able to come and get you out of that situation. But find somebody that you can trust. And when that person does come to you, eliminate judgment. Don't be asking a lot of questions, because it takes a lot for somebody to come and say, listen, because it feels like failure. Like, listen here, I'm hurting and this is what this person has been doing to me. And instead of you saying, yeah, but I told you so, or what, just try and help that person so that they can get out of that situation and not be afraid to come out of it, because already there's judgment behind the whole stigma.
What do you think should be done to reduce the scourge of women and children abuse in the country?
A lot of literature is there. There's plenty of literature in terms of what to do, what not to do. But I feel like the groundwork is not being done. Nobody's sitting on the internet. No abused woman is sitting on the internet and Googling which ways to leave my abusive spouse. I feel like it's also not even taught at school. It needs to be taught at that level where kids grow up knowing, young boys knowing that you don't beat up a woman, even if you're just playing, this is how you treat a woman. Same thing with the girls, these are the signs. If somebody does this, this is what so it's not even done at groundwork. And how do you then fix broken men? Do you understand what I'm saying? And so I feel like also a justice system, they need to be proactive and be there all the time, and I know they all have departments that deal with domestic abuse within every police station, but they have failed many people. They failed Karabo. She opened a case, they turned her away. We work with a lot of women also whom they go to the police station and they tell them, oh, go back and sort it out with your boyfriend. We're busy with serious cases. What is serious case? So is abuse not that serious? And I feel like we also live in a society where it has become a norm. If you go to the township or you go to in the middle of town in Johannesburg, just violence in itself has become a norm where you see someone getting robbed and you just walk by. You can't do anything, fear of your own life. In the townships, you can walk around in the street and your neighbor is beating up his wife or his girlfriend. Everybody just walks by. And the fact that we look at it and we walk by, it's going to take a while. It's not something that we can just eradicate overnight. But if we teach it in school so that the next generation understands the seriousness of it, I think it will make a bigger impact.
South Africa's Minister for Women, Meuwsen Shabangu, recently said while Karabo Mokoena came across as very strong internally, she was weak. Would you agree with that statement?
I think that was very premature of her to say that. And I know she came out to apologize and said that she used the wrong word. It was insensitive. Weak is not a word that you can describe somebody who is enduring abuse. Besides, we put Karabo aside, all the other women that are in that situation, they're definitely not weak. Yes, they are vulnerable at that particular stage, but weak is not a word that you can describe for them. And people need to understand the cycle of abuse. Before you come out and you start talking about why somebody is in an abusive understand the whole pattern, understand the cycle of abuse, and then you will understand that weak is not a word that you can use for somebody in that situation.
According to the recent statistics, South Africa's 2016 Demographic and Health Survey, on average, 1 in 5 South African women older than 18 has experienced physical violence. 4 in 10 divorced or separated women reported violence, as has 1 in 3 women in the poorest households. 1 woman in every 8 hours is killed by their partner in South Africa. Do you think our government is doing enough to tackle women and children abuse?
I feel like there's a lot that can be done. I feel like putting posters, 16 days of activism, is doing nothing. I feel like they should not wait for somebody to die. I think Karabo opened a can of worms. Her death basically opened up this can where people, yes, knew about domestic violence and have seen victims, but it didn't affect them as much. And just immediately after Karabo, there was Kuma, who was shot by her boyfriend and sent it. There were other girls who were victims of violence, So all of these people started coming up, and then people are starting to pay attention. I feel like it should be an everyday thing. It can't be only 16 days. We can't be acknowledged or be protected or be loved only in August as women. It should be something. It's not just the little posters that they post. Every single day there should be something that encourages. That's why I say it has to start at the schools. It should be a part of the syllabus where they need to learn that, from an early age. And I feel like once they've learned that and they have the fundamentals, we will have better men and better women in our society.
What are the common signs can we look for in order to help abused women and children?
Besides the obvious, which will be, the bruises and stuff, but obviously it doesn't start with the bruise, it starts with the emotional, your friend might start withdrawing, if your friend was out there bubbly, going out a lot of times, the abuser then tries to, minimize that, now I'm in control of you, I will tell you what to wear, I will tell you what to drink, I will tell you who to go out with, there's now a curfew suddenly. And sometimes they don't even, allow you to see anybody else, your family, your friends, because if he starts hitting you, then it's easier for other people to see what is happening. So once he starts isolating for you from the world, then he can do whatever he likes, because then you can't make that phone call. Who are you going to call? Because now all your friends have left you. They're like, this one doesn't want to do anything with us. So now you're alone, you're isolated. Sometimes they take your phone or they need to know your movement. So those are like little signs that you can look at. Besides, once you see somebody with the bruises, you know that the abuse started way before. Someone just doesn't wake up and slap you. It has to have started somewhere. So those are the signs.
As an organization fighting women and children abuse, what is your opinion of the recent hashtag Men Are Trash?
Men are not trash. I'm raising a young man, I'm married to a wonderful man, and not because that. But I just feel like if we keep saying that, it's a prophecy, we are basically going to make this man trash. Men are in need of help. And I understand where that comes from. It's the anger, it's the hurt, because it is a man that killed Karabo. It is a man. In terms of domestic abuse, yes, there are some men that get abused, but 98% of the time it's women who are victims of that. So, but if you as a man feel like you are not that trash, then you need to stand up. You need to stand up and say, okay, let me show them I'm not the trash that they're saying I am. Because right now we've lost confidence in our men. I go through social media and I'm reading women who are even scared to go out now. If it's at night, people are so scared and they fear men. Even me too. If I, driving by and I'm at the corner and I'm seeing strange guys, immediately I'm just like trying to lock my door without them hearing it. So I don't want to be in that place where I fear men, So men are not trash. However, we are asking for those that are not trash to stand up, fight with us.
How can your organization be contacted by victims of abuse or by those who wish to make donations to assist the work you are doing?
We are available on all social media. We are Frieda Hartley Shelter on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and also on our website, which is www.friedahartleyshelter.org. Our contact numbers are also 011-648-6005. Alternatively, our cell phone, which is 076-1864-648. Google us.
That was Cheryl Hlabane speaking to Crima Media's Polity about women abuse.